Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Lord, please lead us from unreality to the reality, from ignorance to the knowledge, and from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, we all finished, discussing the 4 hymns which we generally sing or chant during evenings, Vesper service time. And now, very interesting work of Adi Shankaracharya, the world-renowned philosopher of Advaita Vedanta, the non-dualistic philosophy, has composed a beautiful poem. It is, of course, it is a poem, not the mantra. Poem which contains of 12 verses. In India especially, it is sung so much, it has become very famous. And it has also it has become a part of bhajan, devotional singing. Though it has been sung as a devotional singing, but it has got a lot of philosophical, in-depth meaning. Though sometimes it is considered as a bhajan, no doubt, because of its, music and its style of writing and all, but still, it has got philosophical significance, and it is known as also Prakarana Grantha. Though it is in a poetic style, it is a Prakarana Grantha. Prakarana Grantha means it is an introductory text, introductory manual on particular philosophy, on school of philosophy. So that's what we have to understand. So it is an introductory manual for Advaita Vedanta, non-dualistic school in particular. And of course, it is so vast and it is so universal and it is so Catholic in its approach. Any interesting personality who is seeker after truth, who wants to experience the truth, who wishes to experience the God, everyone can try to understand these verses or this poem. Basically, here Vedanta is taught in a simple way. In a simple way, I mean, even the child, a layman or even the child can understand the lofty ideas and ideals which has been discussed in this verses. But unfortunately, we don't know, many of us, most of us, Sanskrit since, so we need transliteration, we need translations, and sometimes we may need explanations also. And this is for whom actually? It is for everyone, no doubt. But still, whoever is interested in pursuing the highest truth, whoever wishes to experience the consciousness, Supreme Spirit, Supreme Self, God, or oneself, for him, this poem is a greatest benefactor. It brings lot of happiness, lot of usefulness. And that's why it is called Moha Mudgara. The real name is Moha Mudgara. Moha means what? Delusion. And Mudgara is destroying. So one who reads, one who understands, one who assimilates the ideas and ideals which has been discussed in this poem or in the verses, if one can put into practice, by assimilating, one's delusion will be removed, nullified, or destroyed. That's why it is called Moha Mudgara. What is the delusion means? I consider something as real. I consider unreal as real, or I consider appearing as real. That is what called moha. Simple example I give, and probably when we go to the verses, we shall discuss in detail. We had a wonderful dream this morning, early morning, because most of the time we get dreams only early morning. And there I became a millionaire and had own charter flight. I had a BMW car and I had a beautiful house. I had my own garden and maybe one or two helpers. And what all the best things available in the world, everything was in my house. I'm very happy with my family, with my husband, wife, sometimes friends, sometimes relatives, and whatnot. Wonderful dream I was experiencing, I was having. And early morning at 6, there was a ring, alarm ring. Then I got up and I put off the alarm. And it took few moments, few seconds for me to come out from the dream. And I understood the reality. I understood the fact that it was a dream, not the fact. It was the dream, but not the fact. While we were experiencing the dream, it was real, it was factual. But when we awakened, when we got up, when we came out from the dream state to the waking state, then we understood it was just a dream. It doesn't have real existence. So similarly, even this waking state is also a big dream according to the Upanishads. But we are unable to understand. The moment we understand, all the Satyatva Buddhi will go away. Then we don't get perturbed, we don't get moved by situations, by people, and one can get established himself or herself in the absolute bliss with the same circumstances. That's very important. Situations might not change, people might not change, and things may not change in and around you, but you will change. Means you will be experiencing the unalloyed bliss or immortal bliss. Now, who is stopping us to understand this, experience this? Our own delusion, our own ignorance. So the poet says, the author says that one who reads, understands, and practices, this is very important, practicing. One who practices, for him, what is the result? What is the benefit? The benefit is the delusion will be destroyed. And what is the story and why did the author compose these verses? What was his intention? Why did he do? When did he do? If you ask, there is a very interesting story behind this. The Adi Shankaracharya, who was a monk, and he was traveling all around India to spread the Advaita Vedanta, the philosophy. And he had been to one of the oldest existing city in the world, which is known as Kashi or Banaras, which is the great pilgrimage place for Indians and especially Hindus. Even today, thousands of people keep going there. And Indians and especially Hindus, they feel if they go to Kashi, they feel their life is blessed. It is such a pilgrimage place. So Adi Shankaracharya, along with his disciples, had been to Kashi, Banaras. So whoever has gone to Kashi, you'll be able to understand now. So he was under the bank of the Ganges, Ganga river. He had bath, holy bath. So after bath, and the Adi Shankaracharya and his disciples, just they were walking on the bed, Ganges bed, on the river bed. There, one old man, maybe 70 years or 80 years, basically at any time he may die. Basically, is at his frag end of his life. He was sitting in the bank of the Ganges on the riverbed and he was trying to mug. He was trying to buy hat. Dukrung karne, dukrung karne, dukrung karne. So what is this dukrung karne? It is one of the Sanskrit sutra, Sanskrit formula, which is pertaining to the Panini grammar or Sanskrit grammar. Dukri means to do actually, to do. Dukri means to do. This is one formula. It is a formula which is pertaining to or which is connected with Sanskrit grammar. It is very wonderful. He has got the learning interest even at the fragment of his life or at that old age or even in the ripened age. He is trying to by heart the formula. That is very appreciable, no doubt. But the author here is feeling that, oh my dear old man, you are at the fragment of your life now. You are trying to mug up by heart the Sanskrit grammar rule. But that is not going to save your life. Just by mugging up something, that is not going to save your life. So, oh my dear, death may approach you at any time. Why are you wasting your time in this? Why don't you seek God? Why don't you worship God? Or why don't you remember God? So when the Adi Shankaracharya, when he saw that old man, who at any time the death may come and embrace him, at that fragment of his life, he was beheading the Sanskrit grammar rule. He felt so unhappy, without of compassion, without of love, without of concern. He said, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. Hey Muda, O fool, Bhaja Govindam, worship, remember Govindam, the Lord. Remember the Lord. Remember the Lord. Why? Samprapte, sannihite kale. When the death approaches you, nahi nahi rakshati, dukkhan karane. Surely, know it for certain that this Sanskrit grammar rule will never protect you from the death, from the fear of death and from the death. So this is the introductory verse. So this verse is, chanted after every verse, even in the singing style. So basically, this is the first verse. Out of compassion, out of concern for that old man, Adi Shankaracharya, he instantly, in a poetic style, he asked him, he gave some instructions. Then afterwards, why he has to seek the Lord, why he has to worship the Lord, he gives in a 12 stanzas or in 12 verses, he gives the rationale, he gives the reasons. That's why it is called Dvadasha Manjarika Stotram. This Bhaja Govindam is a 12 verses. The first verse is what? It is just instructing him to seek the Lord, to worship the Lord, to take the path of devotion, to take the path of spirituality. He is instructing. And why? He gives the reason in 12 verses. That's why it's called Dvadasha Manjarika Stotra. And instantly, with that feeling, it was not mere intellectual, you see. It was not mere intellect. It with feeling, with a genuine concern, with a genuine love, he sang these 12 verses, which was so, effective. The disciples, who were either they were laymen or the monastic disciples, who were in and around with the Adi Shankaracharya, at that given time, they were all awe-inspired. What a glorious idea. What a lofty ideas and ideals our Guru Adi Shankaracharya is describing in this just 12 verses. They also got inspired. Yes, we should seek the Lord. We should worship the Lord. We should understand who am I. We should experience who am I. Or we should experience the divine divinity or the God or the Lord or the Supreme Self. Then probably because of the God's grace or their teachers, Guru's grace, and they also got inspired by that ideas, and they thought we should also follow these, our Guru's instructions. Apart from that, they also sung whatever they felt at that given point of time. Spiritual or philosophical ideas. They also contributed, each one of them, around one verse itself, as the story goes. So around 14 verses, probably 14 disciples were there. Laymen are the monastic disciples. That's how the 14 verses were added into this. Then afterwards, the Adi Shankaracharya was pleased to listen, to hear all his disciples' verses. And as a benedictory address, as a blessing, again he gave 4 more verses. So totally it becomes around 31 or 34 slokas. And there are some variations, 1 or 2 slokas are not there or not there. And in some, places, the lines are interchanged. But more or less, the meaning is same. 1 or 2 verses plus or minus is there. So basically, traditionally accepted is 34 verses. In the Moha Mudgara, it is 34 verses. More or less, it has been accepted. The 12 verses has been given by Shankara, plus 4 verses as the blessings, and other 14 verses by his disciples. Now, the question may come, okay, that old man was sitting and he was doing some nonsense, if at all. Adi Shankaracharya, the philosopher who lived thousands of years before, out of compassion, out of concern, he instructed him and he gave a reasons why you should seek the Lord, worship the Lord, and he has given a rationale and he has given the reasons. Then why should we read now? See, in the prophets or incarnations, in the saints' life, what happens? They give instructions. I mean, they keep some XYZ or his disciple or disciples as a nimitta, and they give instructions, and they are so universal in the nature. They are so universal in the nature, everyone can follow even today. That is what the beauty of the teachings. That is the reason even today, even now, we should understand, we should try to know, and if possible, we can follow this or we can follow it. This is what very important. And when you go deep, when you try to understand this, when you try to meditate, when you try to reflect upon these lofty ideas and ideals, lofty views which has been described in these verses, it is a philosophical nectar. It is a spiritual nectar. If you see, when the honeybee goes initially, when while going and sitting on the flower, it makes sound, bzz, bzz, like that, it makes a sound. But when it starts sucking the honey from the flower, mostly it doesn't make sound. Just it gets engrossed in absorbing or in collecting the honey. So similarly, when you get into when your mind is soaked in these lofty ideas of Moha Mudgara or Bhaja Govindam, then you will enjoy that spiritual or philosophical ideas, lofty ideas and ideals. And it gives you the definite path. It gives you a definite direction to seek the Lord, to seek the divinity, to seek the highest truth or whatnot. So that is what very important here. And it is also, I told, it is a introductory manual, which is a Prakarana Grantha. Introduction to the school of philosophy in general. And also it is considered as book of categories, which is called Prakriya. Prakriya, book of category, means it is a technical word, philosophical technical word. What do I mean by that? Means it is a way of thinking. It is a way of approach towards the truth. The truth has to be understood. For that, you need a way, you need an approach. For example, when we study higher mathematics in our universities, like calculus, analytical geometry, trigonometry and all, from the first standard, from division 1 or class 1 or standard 1, there is a particular approach has been put by the educationists. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions, like this, one by one, step by step, we keep on learning in every class, in every standard. Then when we go to higher classes, we learn mathematical problems or solutions. Then in that particular way, when we go to universities, we'll be able to understand and solve the complex problems. In beginning, if you go, it is not possible for most of us. So we have got a definite approach to understand the calculus or the trigonometry in maths. So similarly, even philosophy or the philosophy subjects also, every philosophy has got its own way approach to reach it. Many times people, they don't follow that approach. They don't undergo that philosophical mental exercise, and randomly they start from somewhere and they go to the advanced text and they get confused. And afterwards they say, oh, philosophy is very difficult, we can't understand, it is very confusing, or it is nonsense, it goes above the head and whatnot. So for every philosophy, for every subject or every knowledge, there is a particular method. For example, music, when you learn, especially like say, Indian music, they will start with sa, re, ga, ma, and sa, re, ga, ga, ma, ma, then sa, re, ga, ga, ma, ma. Like this, step by step, step by step, step by step, the guru, the teacher, teaches music. When you practice that, when you hear, understand, and practice, then only one can become musician. So similarly, any school of philosophy also has got a methodology. That methodology has to be found out, has to be found, and has to be introduced and followed. So this, even Bhaja Govindam is also one of the introductory text or methodology which introduces the Advaita Vedantic methodology to understand, to approach the philosophy or the highest truth or the absolute truth. And it beautifully portrays or pictures the art of realization and a deeper diagnosis of the human problem with respect to unhappiness. We all struggle, we all suffer, we all enjoy. But some point of time, every one of us, we might have thought, we will think that when is the way, what is the way, how can I be happy at all times? How much ever we struggle. We have got house, vehicle, that, this and all. But some point of time, we will feel that, oh, life is with full of mixture of opposites. Life is with full of good and bad, right and wrong, happiness and unhappiness, profit and loss, adverse and favorable circumstances. So we have been tossed between these dualities in our life. So is there any way out to come out from this? Yeah, maybe death. If I should not born, that's the one thing. Yeah, this is the fact of life you have to accept. So it is a way of, because of helplessness, accept it. Second is that. Third is, yeah, don't bother, don't give your mind too much to all these things. So sort of insensitivity, or it is going beyond that. So there are different ways of understanding the problem and approach towards this problem. So the Advaita Vedanta is diagnosing the human problem of unhappiness and what is the reason for that, what is the cause for it, and what is the solution also has been discussed in this verse or in these verses. So the cause and the solution of the problem of samsara, the problem of unhappiness and its removal, nullifying, cancelling is also being discussed in this Moha Mudgara, means which destroys the delusion. And if you see, what is the cause? If you see, it is because of ego and desire. More or less, that's what, when you boil down the all verses, you will understand either because of the ignorance or desire or ego is the cause. Because of that, all this problem comes. And the Upadesha, advice is also is given what to do and what not to do, why to do, and etc. So these verses are a sort of advice, not the disputation. Means it is Upadesha, not the Vada. We have to understand. So yeah, by giving this introduction, I think enough introduction I have given now. We shall try to get into the verses. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukkam Karne. This is the first verse. Bhaja Govindam. Seek or remember, worship. Whom? Govindam, the Lord. Here Govinda is representing the supreme consciousness, supreme self, or Paramatman. You can say Shiva, Durga, Rama, Krishna, Jesus, Allah, Buddha, whomever you feel as a highest self or your own Ishtadevata, chosen deity, you can take. So Govinda is just a symbolical word here. Means it is basically Lord of the universe, who is a creator, sustainer, and the dissolver of the universe, or the Supreme Spirit. Bhaja Govindam. Remember, seek. Okay. Bhaja Govindam. Second time also, author is telling again once more Bhaja Govindam. He is repeating. Okay. Seek the Lord, worship the Lord. Govindam Bhaja. The beauty of the Sanskrit language is, in any other language, I have not seen this, the subject and the predicate are the verb, noun, auxiliary verb, adverbs, all of them should be in a particular place only. Then only it makes sense. Like, I am going to Ireland. I should be in the speeches, it should be in some place. Am some correctly in the same place. Going to and going to Ireland. All these places of this verb or adverb or auxiliary verb, noun, pronoun, everything is fixed. But the beauty of the Sanskrit is, even the noun or the verb, everything can be interchanged, but still the same meaning can be retained. That is the beauty of the Sanskrit language. So Bhaja Govindam and Govindam Bhaja, both are same idea. Govindam Bhaja, seek the Lord, worship the Lord. Now, the question may come for all of us, if at all, if you are thinking seriously about the verse. Author has said first one time, seek the Lord, seek the Govinda, fine. Second time he said, he has repeated, fine. But third time again he is repeating. Why is he repeating again and again? Is he has fallen short of words? Or just is repeating? Or because he was not getting what to say next? No, none of that. To, what do you say? To engrave this idea in our mind. That's where authors or the saints or the philosophers, which is a very important idea, sometimes they repeat. To engrave, to imprint this idea, this view, this philosophy strongly in the seeker's mind. That's why the Lord or the author has repeated twice or thrice. And not only that, and which is very, very important, which is very, what do you say, prime importance, to show that how important it is, also the authors, they repeat. Then Mudha Mate, hey Muda, hey fool. Who is the fool? Who lacks the discrimination between right and wrong, between real and between unreal, between truth and between appearance, between ethics and between opposite to ethics, unethical. He is number one fool. Generally, fool means we think, oh, who is the who get cheated, who is dull-headed, whom we can cheat. Such type of person is a fool, we think. But here, fool means one who lacks the clarity of thought, one who lacks the power of discrimination, one who lacks to understand what is real and what is appearance. According to the Advaita Vedanta, what is real? The definition of real is, it is Trikala Abhadita Satya. Mean at three given point of times, means past, present, and future. At all these three given point of times, it should be there, it should exist. That is what is, what you say, real, Satya. So that Muda, the fool, he doesn't understand what is truth. Instead of that, the untruth or appearance, he is thinking the appearance itself as a truth. Such a person is Muda. Then Samprapte. Samprapte means when it comes, when it comes. Sannihite, when it is fast approaching, or in the appointed time. Kale. Kale means time, or contextually we can say that death. When death approaches you, when death comes near to you, when we are born, death starts approaching us, but it is far. For example, for a child, in generally, if he's a 5 years, if his lifespan, his or her lifespan is 8 years, still after 75 years it comes. So it is very far. But someone is in 50, maybe 20 or 30 years. Someone is in 70, yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Someone is in 79, it is any time. Of course, death can come for anyone at any time. That is different. But in generally, when we are old, we die from that given point of time. So here, samprapte sannihite means when it has fast approach on you, means it is in your close proximity. Anytime you may die. Samprapte, when it comes, sannihite, when it is very proximate to you. It is so near to you. At any time, just it can touch you. So that is what very important. Sannihite, which is very near to you. Death, Kalin, time or death, nahi nahi rakshati. Nahi, nahi, surely never. Again, nahi, once more, surely never. Again, why twice? Because to make you clear, it never protects you. You can never come up in our life. You can never come up in your life. Why two times? To give the importance, to give the stress we use even in our day-to-day conversations. So nahi nahi again means surely never, surely never, surely never, never. The author is using to give the importance. Rakshati, protects, it can protect. What? What it cannot protect? Surely it never protects. Surely it cannot protect. What? Dukrankarane, that is grammar rule. You are trying to by heart the grammar or grammar rule, Sanskrit grammar rule or the fragment of your life. At any given point of time, death may approach you, death approaches you, that will never protect you. That's why, Hey Muda, O fool, Govindam Bhaja. Remember the Lord, seek the Lord, meditate on the Lord. Seek the Spirit, not the matter. Seek the Spirit, not the matter. Now, the one important question may come for all of us. That means, should not we learn at the fragment of his life? Even in his ripened age, even in his old age, he's trying to learn Sanskrit grammar. That should be actually encouraged. Why the author, being a monk and such a high philosopher, why is he discouraging him? So this question may come for all of us. So here you have to understand that it is only mere indicative or it is mere only symbological. It is only mere symbol. Means don't, what you say, engrossed yourself or don't spend your time and energy mere in the worldly pursuits. I need food. I need clothes. I need shelter. I need materialistic comforts, materialistic possessions. So I should acquire. Never mind. Otherwise, who will give for me? I should acquire, for that I should work. Never mind. But don't spend your complete time, 24 hours, or your time, your life, energy in mere earthly possessions, in mere getting materialistic things. That's what the, what do you say, implied meaning or applied meaning we should take. Applied meaning is what? So sometimes people are so much engrossed in the materialistic accomplishments alone. So that should not, we need all of them. We should acquire, but that should not be the alpha and omega of the life. Why? It is a basic necessity of our life. It gives the security, no doubt, but it doesn't give alone. There is something higher. That is what the author is trying to tell. Or otherwise, we should not stop ourselves in merely accomplishing the materialistic pursuits alone. This is what we have to understand. So, and in Indian wisdom, the whole knowledge has been broadly classified into two categories. One is Paravidya, there is Aparavidya. Paravidya means spiritual knowledge, the knowledge or the wisdom which is connected with the spirit, that is self, Atman or consciousness, and also God. So it is basically spirituality, you can say. Though the philosophy we say it is spirituality or spiritual knowledge. The other is Aparavidya, that is secular knowledge. Both are required for all of us, never mind, but don't stop just merely acquiring secular knowledge. Slowly, you should also come back to spiritual knowledge. There's a very interesting story in the Chandogya Upanishad, I think. Narada, who was called the ever celestial sage, long back we have discussed the Narada Bhakti Sutras, if you remember, if you have attended, even it is available on YouTube. So he's a celestial sage. He had got a lot of spiritual powers. I mean, he had got a lot of powers, basically. He, and is a great knower of art, music, 4 Vedas, 6 Vedangas, auxiliaries of 2 Vedas, and astronomy, astrology, Then prose, he can write fictions, poems, and he's a good poet, he's a good musician, and he knew so many, what do you say, fields of education, so many subjects. But still, he was not happy somehow. So he goes to one sage, or he is known as a Manasaputra, Brahma Manasaputra, that is Sanat Kumara, who was just like is a child of 8 or 9 years child, boy, but he is the knower of Brahman. That's the beauty. So see, if you see, for knowing the truth or knowing something, for knowledge seeking, there is no age gap should not be there. Here we can understand. Narada is already quite old, but he has gone to the small boy who is of 9 years, and he's telling, "Oh, sage, venerable sage, I have learned many things. I mean, I would like to learn something by which I can be happy at all times." Then Sanat Kumara is with of composed nature. He was just listening to Narada, and he said, "Fine, what do you want? Okay, you want happiness, and what you have learned, let me know. Then I can teach you what you don't have, and I can probably help you to get happiness or peace." Then he gives a big list. I know 4 Vedas, I know Vedangas, all these things, whatever I told. Imagine 1 or 2 to study for us, it will take our life, or major part of our life. But he knows all these things. It gives a big list basically. Then he listens to all these things, and Sanat Kumara, he smashes just at one stroke, oh, all of these things pertaining to secular knowledge. We are not undermining the secular knowledge. Definitely, it has got its power, it has got its worth, value, never mind. Only from the point of spiritual knowledge, they are undermining. That we have to understand. It is all, all these things is a secular knowledge, but you should know Bhuma Vidya, spiritual knowledge, which helps you to understand, to experience your real nature, your own nature. Narada was startled to hear this, and he asked Bhuma Vidya. That is a Vidya means it is knowledge through which one can experience who am I. That is what the Bhuma Vidya means. Then Narada feels sorry about that, and he says, "I don't know, my dear sage. Can you explain? Can you teach me?" Sanat Kumara, out of compassion, he teaches, and Narada understands, practices, and he experiences the Brahman, or the absolute, I mean, self, and he gets that absolute happiness. So that's where we have to understand the role of spiritual knowledge and the secular knowledge. When spiritual knowledge is higher or highest, doesn't mean that secular knowledge has been undermined or it doesn't have any value. No, it has its value, it has its role, it has its significance and importance. We need all of that, but we should not get stuck alone. We should slowly move towards the spiritual knowledge. That's what we have to understand. And this bhaja means what? It is worship or seeking the Lord. And this itself has 9 forms actually in the devotion. It is called Navavida Bhakti. 9 modes of worship. Shavanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmaniveda. What are these? I will take in the next class. And there's one more interesting story which is given by Sri Ramakrishna. One Pandit. Pandit means wise man, learned man. In those days, there were no buses, trains, flights like this. So they had to go by bullock cart or horse carriage or on the horse or on the walk. And if there's a water, mostly it is on the boat. So this Pandit was going from one town to another town. In between, there was a big river and there was a boat. And he got into the boat. He was sitting in the boat and co-travelers were there, probably 5 or 6 people along with this wise man or learned man. Then the boatman started rowing the boat and they were slowly going. And this learned man is no doubt his learned man, but somehow he was egoistic about his learning. Then he started asking one by one laymen. In those days, probably they were illiterates or they have not studied all these scriptures basically, philosophies basically. Yes, oh my dear, do you know Nyaya? Nyaya means it is one school of philosophy in India, which is art of arguments, art of logical reasoning and all. The layman says, oh my dear, no, I have not studied. Oh, your 10% of your life is wasted. Okay. You ask someone asked, have you studied Vaisheshika philosophy? The other layman said, sorry, my dear respected learned man, I have not. Oh, it is a atomic theory and all beautiful things are there. Your 20% life is wasted. He asks, have you studied Sankhya at least someone? Sankhya is knowledge about the Purusha and the Prakriti, about the individual self and the nature and Trigunas, all these things beautiful, which is the ancient, oldest philosophy in the whole world. Have you studied? The one more person or co-traveler says, my dear sir, no, I have not studied. Oh, your 30% life is wasted. Then Patanjala Yoga, no, okay, you're 40% off. Then Mimamsa or something, Vyakarna, grammar at least, no, oh, your 50% of life is wasted. So basically, he was trying to do self-advertising. I know all these things, and he's telling that I am something superior and you guys are all inferior. And all of a sudden, there was a storm. In Ireland also, we had a storm, Isha and etc. So there was a storm. Then the whole boat started getting shaken. They were in the middle of the river almost. Then one of the traveler or the boatsman was listening. He was listening to all this conversation. Either boatsman or the other one of the co-traveler asked for the learned man or the pandit. Oh, my dear pandit. Oh, dear learned man. Do you know swimming? This pandit says, oh, my dear, I don't know. Then all of them, they said, look, we neither of us, we know Nyaya, we know Vaisheshika, we know Sankhya, we don't know Vyakarana, we don't know Mimamsa or Vedanta. So 10%, 20%, 30%, 50% of our life is wasted. But since you don't know swimming, your 100% life is getting wasted now, is going to waste. Why? Because there's a heavy storm, nothing can be done. Now boat will be upside down. If you don't know swimming, you will be get drowned and you are going to die. Then this wise man or the learned man, so-called learned man, Pandit became panic and he started begging with people, oh, please, please, I'm a Pandit, I'm a learned man, I am very important to the society, please save me, please protect me so that I can be of some service to the society and all. Then people were laughing at him and I said, look, so you know something, that's fine. We don't know something in that particular subject, fine, but we have know something else. So that we should understand, we should respect each other. We should not boost or we should not be egoistic. Anyhow, there was a storm and the boat upside down happened and the boatsman jumped and all others jumped. They were all villagers, so they knew swimming. They easily could swim. And this fellow started getting drowned. And the boatsman, he caught his hand and he swam across the river. And finally, one or two people also helped. And he was panic and he had heavy breathing. And a good amount of water also had gone inside, and this learned man brought out, and his belly was pushed, and all the water, whatever he has drunk, everything was removed, and he came into senses, and it took some time for him to relax, and afterwards he has to go. So Sri Ramakrishna tells this beautiful story, and he tells, look, any knowledge is all worth, but when we know, and it should help us to cross this samsara chakra, that is the cycle of birth and death. It should help us to become a better human being. It should help us to take care of the society instruments, not only that, your own life, your own mind, your own attitude, your own perceptions. And more than that, it should finally, all these things should help towards going towards the self, towards going towards the God, towards going to that consciousness. Right? Because that's the only way where we can have or experience the absolute happiness. Otherwise, it is not so. So the limitation of the intellect or the limitation of the secular knowledge has been given beautifully in that story also. So there are 9 types of devotion or a mode of devotion we will understand. By this understanding, you will be able to understand this one word called bhaja. Then after discussing, then we will try to understand few other verses in the next class. Thank you. And coming Saturday, I'll be going to Belfast. We are having Swami Vivekananda's birthday there, organized by Vivekananda Vedanta Center. And Sunday, we have got meditation retreat from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And 5 p.m. there will be Vesper service. As a result, coming Saturday and Sunday also, we will not have our weekly classes. And next Thursday, we shall meet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.